this Hangout is now live. So there you go. That's Marcel. Everybody's just been introduced to him, and he's wearing a Portland Timbers hat. They're in the MLS final, apparently. I think I believe that means something. Not to me, but still. So let's go through who else is here, and they can introduce themselves. So we're going to go once again from my left over to the right. So we're going to start with Andreas. Hello.
Hello.
Who are you?
Who am I? Well, I'm the apparently the resident stat man. So hopefully, I'm providing a few stats along the way and some silly insight as well.
Okay, and then we've got Austin. Say hello, Austin. It's been a while since we've seen you.
Hello, Austin.
Short and sweet. So, Marcel,
I'm not the resident statman. I'm the resident older person, ready to receive the insults of the others.
I'm the resident older person. I thought you were going to say registered for my pension and everything. But never mind. Moving on. Marcel, hello.
Hi. Resident Yank this week.
Is it? Yes.
And there's Stuart, you see, who says he doesn't know what the MLS is, so I doubt he'll be giving any tips this week for the MLS final.
No chance. No chance. I know very little. They keep asking me, because I work with an American company, and they keep asking me, can you provide some tips for the MLS? I'm like, no, I've got no idea what's going on there. So, not a chance. Matt, I know you've got a slightly sore throat this week.
You just killed my line.
Oh, okay. Hello, Matt.
Let's start again.
Okay,
Hi,
so
I'm Matt.
welcoming Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm a little horse. Sorry, it wasn't worth the build-up. Well, I am a little horse, and I'm making my excuses early. Hence, I'm doing this with my cough sweep. But we'll see how long I can last.
You trying to tell us you're having a pony then?
I'll have a look. I'm trying. I've got a monkey. I've got a pony. Sorry. I think we're done with the introduction now. I'm not going
done with the introduction. So are we moving on to like the previously organised stuff? Because we don't really do this very well, the organised stuff, do we? We end up talking about cheeses and things. But I think we did that on the forum, so enough of that. So I propose that we talked about various things. Does anybody have anything they would like to talk about? Get any other business in first?
It depends what the business is.
What the hell's going on at Austin? Austin, what is that?
I think Austin's just fallen off his chair.
Are you okay, Austin?
Are you okay? Should we call an ambulance?
No, I was plugging my phone into the charger because the battery is draining quite quickly.
Do you know what, Austin? I don't think I've ever actually seen the whole of your face. I'm going to see this. Do you remember the Where's Waldo? Is that what it was? You know, the little nose hanging over the wall? No, not Where's Waldo. You know the thing. Just graffiti with the nose hanging down over there. That's all I see.
Kilroy. Isn't that the one?
Kilroy?
Kilroy?
Yeah,
there was a cartoon character during the war who used to always say, "What? No bananas?" or things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the brick wall.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I'm just now picturing myself with a bigger beard, bigger white beard. And during the war. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing we've got down on the list is the work done by Pochettino and his coaching team with Dembele, Lamela, Dyer, making them first teamers. Anybody got anything to say on this? I think they've done a really good job.
Yeah, I agree. Next subject.
Yep. I think we can wipe that one off because there's only Barry Mead would probably disagree with it.
I think Barry Mead would need his own podcast to get off his chest everything that he wants to say on anything. Give him an hour. There's so much we could say.
He couldn't call it the rose tinted, could he?
I mean, we're all in a rare accord here, pretty much, aren't we? For the most part. I mean, everyone's just extremely happy with how things are going. It's a very odd feeling.
for a Tottenham fan to be extremely happy about things, it's just like I can't remember the last time this happened.
I actually have a bit of an issue with Dembele because even though he's been brilliant and one of our best players, he used to be a player you couldn't dispossess, and you're losing the ball far too regularly now. I don't know whether it's because he's taking chances, and the same chances are what he's making him playing makes him play that well as he's doing. But he's losing balls way more often than he used to.
I can't say I've noticed that. I mean, I think that maybe he's approaching the line where the defence really pack. So he used to be a bit deeper where he had some space to sort of play the ball around a little bit. But if he's playing further advanced, he's going to hit that wall that a lot of teams, including Chelsea, have been putting up.
I think he's looking up a lot more. He's actually looking for players to play to, and I think because he's looking up, he hasn't got quite the focus on the ball where he was very ball-centric at one stage.
I think we have seen him give the ball away in deeper positions a little bit more often, but also he has been playing a little bit further forward. And for me, I don't think his final ball has ever been the strongest part of his game.
I actually think his final ball. So I think Austin may have a point there that he's actually trying a little bit harder to be progressive with the ball. But I think he has been. I mean, he's been sometimes overhitting passes, but really, really arrowing these forward passes. He used to play very, very cagey. But you can see the confidence is coming back, and he's attempting some nice stuff. I mean, okay, he's not splitting defences, but he's making very aggressive choices that he wasn't doing before.
I can just back my statement up with a bit of facts. The first season,
Here we go.
The first season he was with us, he lost the ball 1.5 times per game or per 90 minutes, and this season he's lost it 3.1 times per 90 minutes. So twice as many times during a game he'll lose possession as he did in the first season with us. So he used to be a player that was impossible to get the ball off, to be just the average player in terms of being dispossessed. We're not talking about unsuccessful dribbles here. We're talking about basically tackled or intercepted passes, I think. So he, I don't know whether his body strength or the fact that he comes into closer contact with defenders and midfielders that are more likely to tackle him, but he's losing the ball more. But he's also doing some incredible stuff.
Does that include passes though? Does that include losing the ball in a?
I don't think so. No.
You did say interceptions.
I did, but coming to think of it,
that would be a mistake pass. Yeah.
Because I think he's trying to do things with the ball now.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be.
If you look at he started out under AVB, and AVB was very much keeper possession and not particularly move things forward, and he was just there as a bit of a fulcrum of passing things left and right, not so much trying to do the more inventive attacking stuff.
How many of those lost possessions is it based on, though? You said per 90 minutes, but then again, if he's having 3 times the amount of the ball now, then it's probably about right.
Yeah.
I think with Dembele, he should stop trying to lay the ball off. I think he should just keep dribbling and keep going until he walks the ball over the line. And we can help him. We can help him by that, by painting little arrows on the pitch for him to follow. And I'm sure he could do it.
We can make a little arrow of people that he can walk behind, just to sort of charge over them.
Like Mighty Duck, the Mighty Duck forward formation.
Yeah.
Going back to children's films. Thank you, everybody. Bring in some humour. There we go. In terms of passing, Mighty Duck. In terms of passing, I actually thought Dyer's passing was really, really good in the last game. Certainly more inventive and more attacking than I can ever remember him doing in the past.
Well, I think it's more impressive than I've seen any defensive midfielder for a very long time passing, because, that was just it's almost perfect, his passing.
I thought, in terms of passing to Tottenham players, I think Dyer's was almost as good as Fabregas. Because Fabregas was gash. He was absolutely. Have you seen that video? Fabregas' best moments of Chelsea. In fact, every single moment.
It was like a
play directly to a Tottenham player, or just gets elbowed in the head or something.
Maybe he's angling for a Spurs move. This is what I can do for you. I'll pass
It did work for Carragher.
Yes. He's one of 2 players to have scored more goals against his own club than for his club. Is that right?
Well, Jamie Carragher scored more goals for Tottenham than he has for Liverpool. That's for certain. Because I like to mention that statistic to my 3. I'm pretty sure. Because my brother supports Liverpool, and I like to remind him of that fact whenever he talks Jamie Carragher.
Fair enough. So, what about Lamela? Are we going to give Pochettino a little bit of credit for his transformation, or is it just a case of it's his third season at the club, and about time?
I think that Lamela was actually quite good at the start of last season. So I think personally, he had a little bit of a dip. I think Alexander may completely disagree with me because I read him saying earlier on that he started the last season poorly and got better, but I think it's the complete opposite is true. Maybe in the last few games he picked up again, I guess. But I think this is better than last season, better than his best, but not by an enormous amount. But yeah, I mean, I just think Pochettino just deserves credit. Full stop. We don't have to add anything else to that. He's just done well with everything. I mean, I'm astonished. My jaw's on the floor.
And to be fair to Barry Mead, he did actually slate Poch off at the beginning, but he's actually coming around, it seems.
He hasn't got much choice, to be fair.
No, I think he's eating his own words now. Although
to be fair, I was also not a huge fan of Poch when he first came. I wasn't 100% sure he was the right choice for the club, simply because he's been at clubs before and he's brought players through, but he's never really been able to mould a really good, effective team or bring in high quality players. It's always been about bringing through players, not bringing in players, which is what we seem to be doing. Of course, now we're bringing through players and not buying a lot, so it's working out okay for us.
Well, bringing through players is rather important, if I may talk economics again, for us, because if we bring a player through like Harry Kane, who costs extremely little in terms of how much he's actually worth, if we bring a player like him or Mason or Bentaleb through, we don't have to buy those players, especially the width players. We don't have to buy those, so we have more money to throw at the potential stars. So having
and we can probably pay them smaller salaries to start with. Not that we want to pay smaller salaries, but in order to bring people in, you've got to make the salaries attractive. Whereas if you bring people through the academy, then they take the next progression on the step as they come through. So economically, it's much more viable.
And if you want to compete, we have to compete economically as well. So getting the stars in at the going rate, but still getting the secondary players or whatever you call it, and getting those in cheaper or on a lower contract and everything, that will be the decider in terms of catching up with the big ones, the oil money clubs. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I think if you actually look at the players we've actually spent money on, though, we've actually spent a fair chunk of money. Lamela cost a lot. Clinton and G cost not that much in terms of pounds, but in terms of euros, he was what, 15 million euros or something. Then you've got Heung Sung Min. Heung Sung Min was sort of 22 million pounds. Then you look at our defence. Okay, the fullbacks very, very cheap in comparison, but central defence we've got Alvarez, who's 11.5, and how much do we spend on the Ambertongas? It's about 15, I think.
Well, in today's market, they're actually quite cheap for players that can go in and strengthen a team that's playing for top 4.
Yeah, I don't think those numbers to me don't sound large, not these days. Or over a period of time. I mean, if you talk about the players that we've bought since Poch's arrived as well. On the whole, I guess Heung-min Son was the only real expensive buy, I guess you could say. For the most part, these guys have been relatively cheap and bought to improve, and they've improved astonishingly quickly. I mean, Ali, of course, we haven't mentioned Ali yet, but
Well, I wasn't putting Ali in the expensive players bracket. I think.
No, I realise that.
But he has been an absolute bargain.
Yeah, exactly. But he should be. Right, Alderweireld as well should be really. I mean, okay, it's more expensive, but still, I mean, they're all the really the most successful players have been, either been with the club for a while or they're very cheap. I mean, the lesson is that we should be paying Poch whatever he wants, because whatever we're paying him, it ain't enough. We need to keep hold of that guy. We absolutely do.
Are you worried we might lose him somewhere else?
I'm not the only person I'm worried about losing is Poch. But and to a certain
go?
extent Harry as well, of course. We're all a little bit.
Harry's not going anywhere.
I don't think he is, but it would upset me a great deal if he did go. It would be a major problem for us.
We're all Spurs fans. If we had the possibility to be playing for the first team, would it be on your mind to go to Chelsea or Man U or something? No, it wouldn't. You'd be wanting to die for the club.
But it's easy for us to say because we're not professional footballers.
But Harry Kane is one of us. I mean, we sing it, but he actually is.
He's actually to say that he wants to stay with us and make a difference.
Yeah.
We won't really know if that's true until it's tested.
No.
I mean, I want to believe that, but we don't know this is going to be the case. We can sing it and drill it into his head. You know, this is who you are. Believe it.
Okay. All I've got to go by is what Edmonton said, and he said that he doesn't know Harry personally, but he knows a family member who he spoke to, good. And he said that Harry doesn't want to go anywhere.
So I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know that Edmonton's been saying that, so that's encouraging. But in the long run, I mean, I don't think he would understand. There's no point in going anywhere anytime soon. But so and I'm confident of that as well. But in a couple of seasons, maybe he might see the attraction of going somewhere else. No matter what we're doing. I don't think that's true, but. Again, talk is cheap. I mean, it's his actions we're going to have to judge him on.
I think if you look at the club as a whole, there's only one person that is really an outsider, and that's Poch, because he's come from Spain. Okay, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, and Lloris have come from outside, but they're now they're part of a group which seems to have bonded pretty well, with half the team being homegrown, half being brought in. Poch is well known in Spain. He's actually the only one that I could be scared of losing if, for example, Barcelona or Man United or Real Madrid came in for him.
I don't think Poch is a Real Madrid appointment. I think they're looking for someone that can deal with bigger profile players, and he's not done that yet. I would be more worried about him going somewhere like Man U, where they're saying, right, come in and create a bit of a legacy. They've got a history of young players and bringing people through. That would be more of an issue, but I don't think he'd leave Tottenham for any other English club.
I don't think he would because he'd be under contract, and Levy has shown that he will not allow anyone to leave under contract to an English. Anyone he values, anyone he wants to retain, will not be going to another English club. This seems to be his role, and I think he's absolutely right. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah, if we're talking about Harry Kane possibly leaving, I was thinking about this last couple of days, and I was just trying to think of what clubs are taking him. He doesn't really have the look that Real Madrid probably normally go for. And then we go for quite good-looking guys who also have some ability because they like to sell their shirts and the posters and everything else that goes with it.
Modric.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. The only ones I was thinking, maybe Bayern Munich or Juventus, were the only ones that really could possibly tempt him away from us. It costs a serious chunk of money, though. I mean, you've got to be looking more than Bale, I should think, simply because of the Spurs link that he's already got, the fact that he's a forward. There are very few players like him in the game at the moment. How many could you say have that kind of impact on a game and have the same kind of presence he does? Benzema, maybe? Anyone else? Lewandowski is more of a poacher, isn't he?
Look, as I say, we're all Spurs fans. It's in your heart. You want to be there. Why would you be tempted to leave the club that you've followed since you were a kid to go somewhere else? Why?
I hate to say it, but he was a trainee at Arsenal.
No, he went there when he was 8 years old for half a season.
For one season. One season, and he was a goalkeeper.
He was 8 years old.
You're hardly a trainee at 8 years old.
Was he really 8 years old?
Well, he was at Watford as well. So.
Well, at Watford, I don't care about Watford.
I just have to make the point that Panit's in bed.
So take that one off the list. Toilet,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
In the car.
Yes. In bed, yes. There we go.
He does seem to be in bed, doesn't he?
Yes, I'm sure. That's a pillow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Panit, where are you? Where are you, Panit?
In bed? You're in bed, aren't you? God, you're brave. Are you sure we're not going to put you to sleep? Don't you?
He's knocking on a bit now. He needs his rest.
At least there's not a woman in the room as well. That would be really weird.
Well, we haven't seen the other half.
or bloke, right? Other individual recreational activities. Yes, good. Can we talk about football now? Because I'm getting creeped out with this conversation.
No, we're just letting you carry on with it because you're thinking such a big hole there. We're like, yeah, you carry on, Matt. We'll see how far this goes.
I bet Matt wishes Lamella was there.
What is this Lamella thing? Who was it? I think it was Andy. Where was Andy? He should show himself. This vicious rumour. Got a crush. But I'll tell you what. Since we're talking about Lamella, we're going to talk about that pass. Nice find, Penny. By the way, what a pass! I was wetting myself when that happened.
You really don't help yourself with comments like that, mate.
So
okay, all right, back to football. All right, so Dembele, Lamella, Dyer, they've all done really well, but these players are already here. We brought in very few players really. We brought in Song and we brought in Alderweireld. How good has Alderweireld been in terms of improving the side? I mean,
out of this world.
Well, he's not only been a good player for the team, but he's also improved for Tongan by quite a bit as well. It's been absolutely amazing to see the partnership between the two, because their communication is, well, I won't say flawless, but it's been much better than we saw by any combination last year.
It's like they speak the same language or something.
You'd think, yeah.
One thing I really, really do like about him is he seems to have made us dangerous at corners again. And how long has it been since we've been dangerous at corners?
Well, we would be if Ericsson could beat the first man.
Yeah.
We said that for years now.
Sorry?
I think we're very good at corners. I think it's a bit harsh saying he doesn't beat the first man.
Well, in Chelsea, there were a couple that, a few corners that didn't go anywhere, really. Very poor. But then I think it was extremely windy. You could hear the wind through the microphones. And
right.
It was terrible. It was terrible at the weekend.
I think that makes a big difference.
But in terms of corners, I'm sorry that my label hasn't gotten on with the Statman thing, because I think it's about 1 in 75 corners will end in a shot on goal. Well, inside on target, not off target, but on target.
Is this Premier League?
This is Premier League.
And what? And you don't know the Spurs stats on that this season?
About 1 in 1,000, but that's a regular one.
We scored at least 2 corners.
We scored from at least 2 corners, but no, I don't know the stat. I might be able to find it. Give me a sec.
Here we go. Squawker.com.
I think with Alderweireld. Or Toby.
What?
How to pronounce his surname.
With Oldie Woldy.
Bin Wilder.
I think until he improves a player like Fazio alongside him, you can never call him a Ledley King, because Ledley did have that characteristic where anyone could play alongside him, and all of a sudden you had a partnership. But a lot of people are saying that he's improved Vertonghen. I personally see it as though they've just got a great partnership together. Vertonghen's always been a great player, and Vertonghen's finally got an adequate player who seems to suit him very well. If Vertonghen gets injured and Wimmer or Fazio have to play for an elongated period with Toby, and they then look great, then you can start to say that yes, he's improving players alongside him, rather than we've got 2 great centre halves.
Oh, shut up, Panit. It's my turn. I haven't said anything yet. I think the more pertinent part is that we're now playing with a settled defence, and we've got virtually the same back four as played in all of the most recent league games, and that is naturally going to improve the lot of them. Walker's improved, Rose has improved, and Tongan and Alderweireld have both played well together, with Lloris having much more confidence behind them.
And Dyer as well.
I think Dyer's a big part of this because Alderweireld and Vertonghen both like to go forward, and now they both know that there's someone who will drop into that position and fill the slot that they've left behind when they go forward.
Yeah, agreed. He does it so well.
Yeah, but I think you're absolutely right there, Austin. That it's the consistency. Right, everyone knows their roles. Everyone knows what each other's going to do, and it's very comfortable. This is one of the things that we'll probably get to, I guess, on the running order is rotation.
Yeah.
But you want to try and avoid rotating your defenders and your defensive core, including the defensive midfielder, as much as possible. Really, when we talk about defences these days, we really talk about the centre-backs and the defensive midfielder in many respects. Because you can swap out the wing-backs or the full-backs. It's not the end of the world, but that three, you wanted to keep it consistent and keep it understanding. So otherwise, I guess you can talk about rotation, not that Pochettino seems to want to. But.
Guys, I've got to log out now because my food's ready. So I'll make comments online a bit later on, but I'm going to eat now.
Has someone cut it up for you, little pieces?
So the retirement service has arrived.
From a straw.
Meals on Wheels is there.
Well, I can tell you about corners.
Is that the pacemaker?
Yeah.
about corners. About 52% of our corners has hit one of our own players. So about half of them. I can't say where the shots have ended up, but I can say that 52% of our corners have hit one of our players.
And can you compare that stat to the rest of the Premier League, for example?
I'm on it.
Andreas, another question: does that include the little short corners we keep taking?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to miss our players then, isn't it?
But then again, statistically, the statistic I refer to is something I read in a book, and they say that statistically, if you pass it short on a corner, you're much more likely to have a shot on goal than if you would just punt it in, crossing it in.
It's famously overhyped. Yep. Skill and chance. Right.
Yeah, definitely. The chance of scoring from a corner is very, very, very low, even at the highest level. Okay, so Matt brought it up earlier, the lack of rotation in the side. Does anybody think this is going to cost us later on?
Well, since Scott Parker left, you think?
Not the 360 degrees one player rotation. Swapping players in and out.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's hard to tell, isn't it?
I'm going to say the same thing I'm going to say about Leicester if we're ever going to talk about them. I'm going to wait until the December games, the Christmas games, and the really packed fixture list is going to show the width of the squad, and seeing will tell us if we need to rotate more. Yes, players do get burned out eventually, but to me, I think we should be able to be competitive in the Premier League and be competitive in the Champions League in the future. We need to be able to handle this kind of fixture congestion that we've had with our first team as well. So swapping out a player or two every game doesn't have. We don't have to be Rafa Benitez swapping out 11 players every game. I think it remains to be seen whether the team can handle it. But I think at the moment we're doing quite nicely. So I'm not gonna criticise the lack of rotation.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of factors in this. I mean, for one thing, of course, the team is very young. It's striking how few injuries we've had on the whole, which tells me that they're not being pushed too hard as a group. However their fitness is being managed, it seems to be getting done quite well. Touch wood that doesn't change. So this is impressive, and I think that also, on the whole, you don't really want to, unless you really tinker and really want to play a whole squad, you don't need to rotate players throughout the season. I think you need to start thinking about that some later on when fatigue starts to set in. It's not obvious that you're doing anyone any favours by rotating early when there's no fatigue in the legs and they're not feeling it yet. And finally, and another factor, I'm just sort of ticking stuff off here, is the fact that I don't think our squad's been pushed yet. So we've got a large group of players. I think maybe we are better off saying sort of, look, let's just play our main group, and then if we need to, through injury or genuine loss of form, we have to rest someone for a period of games and someone else gets a run in the team. But it doesn't necessarily do anyone any favours to chop and change all the time. And players don't like it.
It's not so much chopping and changing it. I think it's more a case of we haven't had anyone brought in and given that experience. Wim hasn't been given a chance really. He played in the League Cup, I think, or was that Fazio played in the League Cup, didn't he? Did particularly badly. Wim has not really had a chance to play in the first team, and when he gets brought in, it's going to be basically throwing him in the deep end. Probably sometime in the next 5 weeks, when we've got 7 games. We've got 7 games in the next 5 weeks. Admittedly, most of them are either at home or nearby. We've got what? West Brom, Monaco, Newcastle at home, Southampton away, Tottenham, we play Norwich at home, and then we've got Watford away before going to Everton. So
what does it mean to throw him in at the deep end? I mean, what does that mean? Because there are no unimportant games anymore. Right? We don't, you might have considered the occasional Europa game as a game that we could have some confidence about winning, but honestly, when you start to treat Europa League games lightly, you just end up getting into trouble. Just get them won, get them out of the way, and if there are any group games that we genuinely don't need to worry about, we'll deal with that once we've qualified. I mean, there are no unimportant games. We want to win the Europa League. It's a Champions League place.
There is that, but I remember when you and I were in Monaco, and that team was announced when it said Alderweireld and Vertonghen, and we looked at each other and we said, yeah, I'm surprised Wimmer's not playing. And I would have thought that would have been like the perfect game for him to play.
Don't throw that in my face.
Gotcha. Wasted in your own petard.
But Matt, you say that we've not had our squad's not been tested. We have had injuries. It's just that everyone who's stepped in has performed at the start of the season. In the summer, or at least coming out at the end of last season. Mason and Bentaleb were our centre midfield pair. They haven't had a look in. They've been injured. Chadley's injured long term. Pritchard injured long term. Everyone expected him to play a big part this season.
I'll give you the others, not Pritchard, because I think he was going to be peripheral with a potential chance. But yeah, I take your point.
Okay,
and
then
Min's been injured a couple of times already. Lamella picked up an injury while he was on his ban.
Yeah.
That's good timing. Get banned and get injured at the same time. That's more of what we want, please.
And so I think we've been lucky with some key players like the centre backs. We've been lucky with Dyer, although he had a suspension. We've been lucky with Kane, although he's picked up 1 or 2 knocks, but he seems to have played through them. So I think we have tested our squad a little bit, but anyone who's come through has performed, which is great again, which just shows we're not totally reliant.
The only positions we haven't actually rotated, to be fair, have been Harry Kane and the 2 centre backs.
And Dyer, if possible.
And Lloris.
Yeah, okay, but no, Lloris has been. We played Vorm a few times.
We haven't really, have we? Why has Vorm not played in any cup games?
Because he's crap. But anyway, he's not up to it, is he? Let's be honest.
No.
I don't think Vorm is crap. I just think he's looked crap because he's not played. I mean, again, he's a defensive player. They need to be consistent. You don't get consistency when you only play 1 game.
And it's a bit hard to compare him to Lloris, right?
Right.
Yeah. Lloris is just excellent goalkeeper who's way up here, and Vorm is still a good goalkeeper. He might just be down at this level instead.
But it's only true.
Does a goalkeeper need rotation anyway?
No,
not really.
They still have to travel, don't they? And they still need to maintain their concentration levels. I'm sure it's not easy after a 5-6 hour flight.
I mean, you can argue that you want to give the other guy a run out to keep his eye in, but honestly, I don't think that nothing does you any good apart from a run in the side. So
wasn't it last season he got injured? But what happens if Lloris gets injured?
Well, Vaughan gets a run in the side, and that's it. Vaughan gets a run in the side, and he gets his game together. And this is the point I was making about, throwing them in at the deep end. As I said, there were no unimportant games, really, especially we went out of the League Cup quite early. I would have said the League Cup was totally disposable, so it's been disposed of, fine. The corner stat for the entire league is 43.88%.
Is that the connections, or that can't be goals?
That is just connections.
Right. Okay. Goals would be huge.
I can't tell from my sample here that whether or how many was turned out to be goals and how many turned out to be shots.
Sorry, say that again. So the stat for the league is what, and the Spurs stat is what?
43.88% of all corners hit, and their own team.
And Spurs?
In the Spurs, it's 52%, so about 10 percentage points above.
Well, we probably
Any
take
team
10%
got higher than
more
Spurs?
short corners.
I haven't got any team-specific statistics, I'm afraid.
You're never going to get that, yeah. So there we go. 10% of our corners are hit short. That's the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we've got a few games coming up. Is there anything that anyone's going to or particularly looking forward to in the next 5 weeks?
Well, I'm going to Norwich.
You're going to Norwich?
Yeah, it's a shame because we're playing at home. Boom, boom.
I'm going to the Watford game, actually. That'll be good fun.
Yeah. Wouldn't mind going to that, but I can't get a ticket.
Really?
No.
It's a busy ground? I wouldn't have thought that was...
Well, it's a small ground. We only got 2,000 allocation.
All right.
The problem is, as it's local, everybody wants to go.
Yeah.
So there's no spares.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Newcastle game because I'm going to watch it with a Newcastle supporting mate, and that'll probably provide a bit of good fun. I
have a feeling we don't do particularly well against Newcastle as a general rule.
The last time we watched the game together, we won 4-1 or something like that. I think 3-1, because the rule is if the other team scores against your team, you buy a round of beer for the people at the pub or watching together at the pub, and he ended up buying quite a lot of beer.
He must be skint this season.
He must be, but that is just between Newcastle and Tottenham.
Oh, right.
Okay, I'm looking forward to the Southampton game. I think that should probably be quite a good one. Two decent sides. What else? Newcastle. I'm hoping we get a decent number of goals. How many games? How many points?
Did you say goals?
I think we'll get a few goals against Newcastle. Yeah.
I think you said girls.
No, goals. No.
I wouldn't mind getting a few goals against Newcastle.
Looks like Panit's right on his back now because all we can see is the ceiling.
Yeah, it's a lovely light fixture.
That was that bloke we were talking about earlier, wasn't it?
What?
So the sun literally does shine out of his...
Yeah.
Hey!
He's got Harry Kane.
So it's nice. It's not looking at the fixture list. It's nice how few. I mean, obviously we'll get bitten by something, but these are winnable games.
Yeah.
We've got potential 15 points there in December.
Southampton is the most interesting one to me. It's the real, old team.
We normally get a result there, don't we?
Yeah, he's done well against them as well.
There's going to be a few draws in this list, though. I think it always bites you when you think you've got an easy run, doesn't it?
True, but we've been particularly good against these kind of teams.
I think that's old Spurs thinking. I'm not sure that's current Spurs thinking.
I don't think
we can have a few draws.
Though. All teams tend to, suffer in periods where they think they've got an easy run. It's like Liverpool are turning around and saying they've played all their hard games for the season. We can't obviously think they're going to go all the way and win the league now, are they? So they've had all their tough top sides away from home. I think they've played. I think everyone but one away from home of the top like 6. But I think if we finish this year unbeaten, I'll be delighted going into January.
Well, looking at our fixture list, I don't see a game that really worries me until the 13th of February when we go to Man City.
Southampton will be tough, do you not think, Stuart?
Southampton, yeah, but I think we can get a point there. The only one I really look at and go, yeah, we very good chance of losing that one is the Man City one.
What
Well,
does your,
West Brom and Watford are decent mid-table sides that will have to play away from home. So you always have to, give a little bit of respect.
Yeah, we've got to give respect to every side we play. There's no doubting that. But
I just mean I think between those 3 games, West Brom, Southampton, and Watford, where that's maybe if it all goes well, that's maybe 2 draws in there. I think.
Yeah.
And you've always got to account for that, silly red card or dodgy decision here and there, which changes the result. Can always happen with these sort of games. Don't forget Arsenal have dropped some silly points over the last few weeks.
And
that's
picked up
Arsenal.
a load of injuries.
Yeah, but so have we.
Yeah, no, they've got serious. I mean, they've got what's his name out? Koscielny, the Chilean guy. What's his name?
Sanchez.
He's out.
That was hilarious when he got pushed down that camera thingy.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's on this.
I need to look that up.
I'll put a link on our group. It's
Cool.
hilarious.
I just thought it was really funny before the game. Wenger was saying he's got a slight hamstring strain, but it'll be okay for this game. After the match, yeah, he's got a fairly severe hamstring strain. He'll be out for a while. You didn't think this through, did you?
I can tell you about the Southampton game. Since they came back into the Premier League, we've won 83%, which means 5 in 6 games. And the last one we drew. So, yeah.
Yeah, but Pochettino's record in that fixture is terrible.
That is 1 point from 1 game.
No, but Pochettino was manager of Southampton when we beat them there as well.
Oh, yeah,
true.
It's his fault.
Yeah, under Sherwood. It's one of the few managers that Sherwood actually managed to get the better of. It's quite depressing. But hey. Okay, guys, last thing before we go. Cheese of the month. What are we going for?
Well, I just had the most lovely 5 county cheese. I must admit, I got addicted to that whilst living in England.
Wait, where's the guy who wanted this in the first place?
Jeff, I've no idea.
No idea.
We're just going with it.
How does he get his topics without even
No, he put it on 1 week and we just completely edited it every single time.
I want to talk about the blatant advertising you've got going on behind you, Stuart.
I don't know what you mean.
We did that before we got on air.
Placement.
I don't know what you mean. It's not as if I'm getting involved in it.
Branded beer can.
No, that was a non-brand name. Never seen that one before.
No.
I'll plug the Portland Timbers again.
Yeah, go for it. So who are they playing? Go on quickly, Marcel. Who are they playing, and have they got a chance of winning?
They're playing Columbus Crew. The game is in Columbus because they did better in the. They did. They did the.
Do they play 1 tie, 2 ties, 7 ties?
I was just about to explain that. It's a one-off game, but Columbus get the home advantage because they did better in the regular season.
Right.
So,
Crew are definitely going to win it. I'm a Crew fan, sort of.
Can we call you Alexander?
I'll get that one later.
Crew Alexander.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Let it go, Dario Grandi, Steve Davis.
Right.
So who's got the first pick of the draft then, Marcel?
What? They don't do that sort of thing there. That's an NFL.
NLF?
I'm pretty sure they got the super draft in the MLS as well.
No,
They've got, but it doesn't really.
The college players.
Well, they got their designated players and then.
They got the designated players, and
which is a big deal over there now.
Which is interesting because the 2 teams that got to the final don't really have any huge superstars. I mean, one of the designated players for the Portland Timbers is Liam Ridgewell. I mean,
who?
Exactly.
It's the guy who had a photo of himself wiping his arse with £20 notes.
Oh, right.
Him. Yes.
That one.
They have the team. Interesting though, the teams that have spent big on your Gerrards, Lampards, and all that sort of thing, they're not there.
Yeah.
It's nice to see.
What
also
about
glad
the Gerrard and what's his name? I've forgotten him. The Italian.
Lampard.
The Italian. Pirlo.
Oh, Pirlo.
Were they even in the playoffs?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Oh wow.
Get there.
I think they lost 5-0 in their first game, didn't they? So
The team's the star, just like Spurs.
Did you see their song sheets they handed out before the season? The City FC. If you haven't, I'm going to post it on the Facebook group in a minute. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to call it a day because it is now 3 minutes past 10. My wife is hungry; she's having soup. So time to go, I think, and we'll see you in about a month.
See ya.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Cheers,
Happy
guys.
New Year, everybody.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
likewise, take care.